Hello everyone and welcome to today's video, and today we are going to be talking about probably the most talked about thing in the 2026 rumor lineup, and that is the smart brick. So in this video we are first going to be talking about what we know as far as what this smart brick is, and then we are then going to talk about my predictions of these sets that we have the prices and numbers for. However, we do not know what they are. We do know what two of them are, but there are some others. So first off, we need to talk about what exactly is this smart brick. So this is information that's gathered from many reputable leakers online, along with other YouTubers, such as the Brick Reporter has done a lot of videos on it, so you can go check out more on his channel. He probably has some better explanations on there. But from what I have gathered, this smart brick is a brick that is a little larger and heavier than a standard Lego brick, and it kind of has the same inner workings of a light up brick where it's clear and you can see all the technology inside. And if you move this brick in a certain way or hold it in a certain spot, it's supposed to make noise or light up. It can do both. And then also are minifigures that include this smart brick system, where these minifigures will have a technology inside of them, and the torso and legs will be permanently attached, and when you connect this minifigure and brick, they will do whatever the coding is supposed to have them do. So overall, it's kind of like Hasbro toys, which is what I feel like why this shouldn't be a thing in Lego. I do not really like this idea of a smart brick thing, but it does seem a lot like Hasbro toys where they light up and stuff, and if you put the action figures in certain spots, blah blah blah. But it just doesn't feel like Lego, but I can see why Lego is trying to modernize itself even more and get into the age of technology and stuff. But I feel like when it comes to Lego, we try and stay away from technology, so I am very mixed on this matter. I am just hoping that overall we get some cool non-smart brick minifigures out of these sets and some nice builds. So starting off here, we have a couple sets here with the set numbers and then the prices, except for the last one. We have 75420 through 75245, and then I would assume that this other one is 75246 maybe. And then we have a 40, 70, 70, 100, 50, 80, and $160 price points here. And we do already know what two of these are going to be. Set 75421, the $70 set, is supposed to be the Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. And then set 75423 for $100 is supposed to be Luke Skywalker's Red 5 X-Wing. And I am realizing that says $90, not $100. Apologies. But these sets have been leaked out for a while, and we also a while ago, got a list of these smart brick minifigures that we are supposed to be getting along with these sets. Those minifigures being a Farm Boy Luke, Training Luke, Pilot Luke, Han Solo, Palpatine, Chewbacca, Vader, Yoda, and Greedo. And when you look at these things, you definitely can get some ideas. Like you see a Greedo, you think Mos Eisley Cantina. And then there are also some pretty cool fans who see the Yoda and the Palpatine and think, but in reality, I feel like that these are going to be the pairings here, with the Training Luke, Pilot Luke, and Yoda being in one set, the Farm Boy Luke, Han, Chewbacca, and Greedo being in one set, and then the Palpatine and the Vader being in one set. So, before I get into my predictions, I'm going to talk about the two sets that we already know. So like I said, we have the Luke Skywalker Red 5 X-Wing and Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. These are each expected to release in March, as are all of these sets, and they are supposed to be retailer exclusives. At least that's what these rumors have said. And I'm not really going to talk about the Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, except for I believe the minifigures in that set will be the Smart Brick Vader and Palpatine. I do not think we're going to get a Tarkin in this set. I think that will remain exclusive to the Death Star, as many of those minifigures will. But I do want to talk about Luke Skywalker's Red 5 X-Wing, because at a $90 price point, I know this does seem very expensive, and we did get the leaked image of it a while ago. However, I do not think that this set is just going to be Luke's X-Wing. I think it is also going to include a small build of Yoda's hut, And I think that the minifigure lineup for this one is going to be a Dagobah Yoda, Training Luke, Pilot Luke, and R2-D2, all with the Smart Brick system. I think that would make the most sense. It seems the only way that this set could be reasonably $90, because with the leaked image that is out there that we've seen a while ago, I'm sure you can find it online. If that is truly what these sets are going to be like at this price point, just because they have a brick that can make noise and light up, this wave is going to be a complete failure, and LEGO is definitely just trying to get as much money that they can. However, I feel like if they do it this way, it will be a little more reasonable, and I feel like it will make a couple more people pick it up, rather than just like the child audience that they're trying to go for, especially with integrating technology into these things, because you know those kids love their iPads. And then next up here we have set 75420 at $40. I don't really know what this is going to be, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys here. I mean, some people were saying how this was really close to the battle pack price. However, I do not think they are going to put a Smart Brick in a battle pack. All of these sets are rumored to include the Smart Bricks, so some of these might not. Some of these might just be standard normal LEGO sets that are releasing in March alongside these Smart Brick sets, so we don't really know. But at $40, it could be some sort of small ship, maybe a speeder bike. It could be, we saw Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor this year, so they might be doing a different one, but I feel like at the start of a new thing, like with helmets, dioramas, lightsabers, everything, usually LEGO tries to focus on original trilogy for a couple of years, like they're doing with the rumored busts that are supposed to be coming out in May. Those are going to be Yoda and Vader, so it will probably be a original trilogy set. And originally I thought this could be a snow speeder, but as you will see here in a moment, I will explain why I do not think this is going to be a snow speeder. So let me know what you think that this $40 set could be down in the comment section below. So next up here we have set 75422 with $70, and $70 has been the price point here lately for a lot of these sets, like Jango Fett Starship, the U-Wing, and the ARC 170. So I'm thinking if this is truly going to be an original trilogy based wave for the Smart Bricks, it is going to be a Y-Wing, specifically the Gold Leader's Y-Wing from A New Hope and in Rogue One. So overall, I think this lineup here is going to be a Y-Wing pilot, specifically Gold Leader, a R2 unit, and then a Rebel ground crew member, and I do think this would be really nice. I am a big fan of the Y-Wing. I think it looks really cool, and I think we are well overdue for one, because I do not think we have had a proper scale one since the one back in 2016, and the only one that we have had since then was the like small micro scale version, or MIDI scale version, that was in the Yavin 4 Rebel base. So I do think this is more of a set that I just want it to be, not really what I think it's going to be, but I think it also could be this. I think it would be probably the most reasonable priced out of all these, and I think we definitely deserve a Y-Wing for this Smart Brick wave. And then next up here we have set 754 for $50, and just like the first one I talked about, I do not know what this is going to be. Sorry, it could be any sort of starfighter. It could be a small playset thing. I don't really know what it's going to be, but like I said, with the trend that LEGO's had for a while, it's most likely going to be an original trilogy set. But like the other one, let me know what you think this one is going to be down in the comment section below. And then next up here, we have probably the easiest one to predict out of the minifigure names, set 75245 for $80. Sorry. And I do think that this is going to be a playset Mos Eisley's Cantina. We haven't seen one of these here in a while, and I do think it is going to be relative to the side of this one you see on the screen here. I do not recall what year this is from, but I think it's going to be a build similar to this, include a smaller version than this of Luke's land speeder, and then minifigure wise, I think we could see a Smart Brick Han Solo, Greedo, Luke, and Chewbacca, the diner owner, and then 2 sand troopers maybe. If not 2 sand troopers, the Cantina band members would be really cool. But I do think this will be a nice set and integrate the Smart Brick well. I think they could have the conversation between Han and Greedo that could work, And if these do have mobility, like add additions to the minifigures where there are small motors, they could be really cool and make like their arms spin up to show the blaster scene and like have the blaster noises. But we do know LEGO doesn't really like to include violence in their sets, so they would probably not incorporate that, I think, especially since this is for a more child audience rather than adults. But it's just an idea, and I do think that this $80 set will be the Cantina, especially if it is this size, rather than the $50 set, which is what I originally thought. But mainly I bumped it up because I do think it will include, if not these minifigures specifically, at least this many. And then last up here we have the $160 set that we do not know the set number, at least I do not recall what set number it is. And I do think that this has the potential to be a playset version of Hoth. I know a lot of people, well not a lot, a couple people were speculating this could be a Millennium Falcon because of the Han Solo, Chewie, and Luke. But I do think those are going to be in the Cantina, and then this is going to be a very cool set. And I don't really think they're going to be Smart Brick minifigures in this, but they could definitely include the Smart Brick in this set. They could have a couple of like small builds for the Empire and Rebellion with some barricades, some dish towers, cannons and stuff, kind of like the 2 battle packs we saw a while ago. I think they could have a nice build of the Hoth cannons that they see multiple times in the movie. Those could integrate a smart brick system to have the blaster sound. They could have the gates on there, and if they had the smart brick that has any motor functions, they could have it where it could open and close the gate if something gets like close to it. That would be a really neat way and definitely sell people on this minifigure thing. And then for vehicles in this set, I think it will have 2, some sort of a snow speeder build, probably a little smaller than this one. And I do think it will use the new canopy piece that we saw earlier in this year, back in August. And I do think that will include a smart brick to make the noise. And then I do think they will manage to include a AT-AT in this set since it is such a big part of Hoth. However, it is not going to be like the one we saw back in 2020 or 2021, I don't recall. But I do think it is going to be the same size as the gingerbread AT-AT. As you can see here, this is a person who rendered this image on Reddit using some sort of program where they took the gingerbread AT-AT and recolored it into a normal one. And I do think that LEGO did make this AT-AT to see if fans would like the way it looked and to see if it would like hold up and its proportions could be right. Because I do think that if LEGO did make a Hoth play set, this would actually feel pretty nice in it. I would not be disappointed if we got this rather than like one really big AT-AT or just a bunch of the small builds. I do think this would be really cool and definitely like give you the full Battle of Hoth feeling rather than the AT-AT being a missing thing from this set. Well, folks, that is all of the information I have on 2026 Smart Brick rumors, and then those are all of my predictions. There's definitely a lot of good and bad that could come out of this wave. In my personal opinion, I think that unless they make it, like, obviously I'm going to say if they make it the way, like this, that I came up with, it would look cool, but I do think that this is what LEGO should do. I feel like a lot of people will agree with me. Please let me know if you do agree down in the comments below. But I feel like if LEGO does what they've been doing and just make sets overpriced and then make them more overpriced because of one brick, this wave will probably fail and the smart brick will not be in LEGO Star Wars ever again, which I would not be opposed to either way, but we will have to wait until March of 2026 to find out. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about smart bricks in the comment section below, and make sure you tune in for the next one.